In the year 1914, when the First World War erupted in Europe, few people in Cameroon knew that the conflict between powerful nations would soon bring destruction to their own homeland. At the time, Cameroon was a German colony known as Cameroon, ruled by German administrators and protected by German soldiers called the Schutztruppe. The people of Cameroon lived peacefully in many villages, farming, fishing, hunting, and trading. But everything changed when Britain and France declared war on Germany. Cameroon suddenly became one of the battlefields of the Great War. The British forces attacked from neighboring Nigeria, while the French advanced from Chad and French Equatorial Africa. Belgian troops also marched in from the Congo. Together, these allied forces planned to drive the Germans out of Cameroon. The German commanders knew they were greatly outnumbered, but they refused to surrender. They strengthened their forts, trained African soldiers known as Askaris, and prepared for a long and difficult campaign. Soon, fierce battles erupted across the country. Gunfire echoed through forests, mountains, and rivers. Roads were destroyed, bridges were blown up, and villages became trapped between the advancing armies. Many Cameroonian men were forced to serve as porters, carrying heavy loads of food, weapons, and ammunition through thick forests and muddy paths. They walked for weeks with little food or rest. Thousands died from disease, exhaustion, hunger, and harsh conditions rather than from bullets. Women remained behind in the villages, struggling to feed their children while many of their husbands and sons were away. Crops were abandoned, markets closed, and hunger spread throughout many communities. One young porter named Musa dreamed only of returning home. Every day, he carried supplies through dangerous forests, avoiding enemy patrols while listening to distant explosions. He saw villages burned and families fleeing with nothing but the clothes they wore. The campaign became one of endurance rather than quick victory. Heavy rain turned roads into rivers of mud. Dense forests slowed the armies. Malaria, dysentery, and other diseases claimed more lives than the fighting itself. The Germans used the difficult terrain to delay the Allied advance. Whenever the British or French captured one town, the Germans withdrew deeper into the interior, destroying bridges and supply routes behind them. One of the most important battles took place around the German stronghold of Mora in northern Cameroon. There, German and African troops defended the fortress for many months despite being surrounded. Elsewhere, Allied forces gradually captured key towns, including the colonial capital of Yaoundé. By early 1916, the German position had become impossible to defend. Running low on food and ammunition, many German officers and soldiers retreated south into the neighboring Spanish territory of Rio Muni, now part of Equatorial Guinea, where they were interned. Others surrendered to the Allied forces. The fighting had finally ended, but the suffering remained. Villages lay in ruins. Farms had been destroyed, families had been separated, and many people never returned home. After Germany's defeat, it lost control of Cameroon. The territory was divided between Britain and France under mandates approved after the war. France administered the larger eastern portion, while Britain governed two smaller regions along the Nigerian border, known as the British Cameroons. This division would shape Cameroon's future for decades, influencing its languages, legal systems, education, and political development.